in a nasty divorce, how do I protect my kids from devastating emotional harm? Every parent in a divorce situation needs to know this. I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, a clinical psychologist with years of experience working with families of divorce. I'm going to share a strategy with you that you'll never hear from your attorney, but it's absolutely essential to the mental health of your children. First, the context, and then I'll give you 5 practical strategies. For about 13 years, early in my career, I did child custody evaluations for the court. These are bitter, angry, divorcing parents who can't figure out how to share their kids. The court sent me into that situation to figure out what's going to be in the best interest of the children. And I have to tell you, that was always my focus. Now, I want good things for parents, but the kids are in a vulnerable position. They didn't choose this. They don't get to dictate what direction it's going to go. So I really went in with their best interest in mind. Part of the context I want you to understand comes from Dr. Elizabeth Ellis, who wrote a book called Divorce Wars. I don't highly recommend it for the average reader. It's very academic, but there's a lot of really great information and research that she compiled. The main thing that I want you to get from Dr. Ellis's research is the 5 factors that determine the outcome of divorce for children. Number 1 is conflict. Specifically, conflict between the parents about the kids. I'm not even going to share the other 4 with you in this video because number 1, conflict between the parents about the children, is by far the most powerful indicator of outcomes of divorce for kids. Now let's keep that in the back of our mind as we have a conversation about some specific strategies that you can employ. You will not hear from me the same kind of rhetoric that you're going to get from your attorney. I am not your attorney. And what I'm sharing with you here is not legal advice. It's family advice. It's relationship advice. It's mental health advice for your children. So remember where I'm coming from. The court is a terrible place to solve family problems. I say that with years of experience working as an expert witness in the court situation for families. And the court is a terrible place to solve family problems. It violates some of the principles that I'll be sharing with you here today. So notice that you're going to be getting a little different message from me than you might get from your attorney. That's okay. Consider where I'm coming from. If conflict is the number 1 factor that determines the outcome of divorce for children, we want to do everything we can to reduce or minimize that conflict in a way that serves our family best. So it's in that context that I share with you these 5 strategies. Let's start with strategy number 1. Take care of yourself. You are the most valuable resource that your children have access to. You've got to take care of yourself. I'm reminded of this every time I get on a commercial airliner. And that, you know, when you're taxiing out on the runway and you're about ready to take off and they go through the safety routine, just in case you've been in a coma for 20 years, they show you how to fasten a seat belt, like you haven't been paying attention. But they get to this point where they say if we lose cabin pressure, these attractive yellow oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling and you put that on your face so that you can keep breathing. They always say at that point in the presentation, if you're traveling with someone who needs assistance, like a young child, for example, please put your own mask on first. And why do they say that? Because your natural tendency as a parent is to take care of the child, right? That's where you're drawn. But if you're out cold in the aisle, you're just part of the problem. You're in the way now. You've got to take care of yourself so that you can show up for your child. This is huge. And one of the things that I work on most in my coaching with parents, take care of yourself. That's the best way you can ensure that that number one asset will be there and available for your child. Strategy number 2, create the most sane, stable, loving environment you possibly can in your world. Picture this for a moment. We've got one world that separates and becomes 2 worlds. And for kids, I call this mom's world and dad's world. One of my clients suggested recently, maybe we call this Planet Mom and Planet Dad. When you think of it that way, we have these very different worlds, and these different worlds have different languages, expectations, rules, standards. There's a reason why there's 2 separate worlds now. Your children have to live in both of those worlds. Most of your concerns are going to be about the other world, right? Notice that. Because you control your world to an extent, right? I mean, you have some say over what the rules and expectations and values are in your world, not the other world. You don't have any control over that one. So the second strategy has to do with just staying on home planet here, okay? Whatever's happening in the other world is happening, and your kids can handle it. I'll repeat that if I have to. Your kids can handle it. So let them handle that, and you come back to your world. You create the most sane, stable, loving, open, principle-based environment that you possibly can in your own world. You with me? You're going to do that based on 9 principles. I'm not going to go over all of the 9 principles in this particular video today, but I've written them down for you on a nice clean little PDF that I will send right to your inbox. Just go to the URL on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/9, the number 9, principles, all one word, and I'll put that in your inbox. These 9 principles are what I have found to be effective. In fact, I would venture to say that they're guaranteed to allow you to create that same, stable, loving environment that you can in your own world. Get the 9 principles. I promise they're going to make a big difference for you. Here's strategy number 3, and this is, again, going back to our goal to minimize the conflict. Get clear about who the enemy is. Hint, it's not the other parent. I know this is going to rock your world potentially. The enemy is not the other parent. In fact, the enemy is probably a departure from the 9 principles that I just shared with you. Anytime we get away from those 9 principles, we're in trouble. For example, love, forgiveness, compassion, respect. Those are all on the list of those 9 principles. What if we go to hate and anger and viciousness? Not on the list, by the way, but that's a departure from the 9 principles. That's what the enemy is. It's when we depart from those principles. The other parent is not the enemy. Get clear about that. Strategy number 4 is similar. Get clear about what your job is. And if you follow the previous strategy well, you'll know that the other parent is not the enemy. So your job is not to protect these children from the other parent. Again, I'm coming from a background of having worked with families for now 3 decades. The court is a terrible place to solve family problems. And your attorneys will tell you that you have to do this to protect your children. Don't be too quick to buy into that philosophy. That is not your job. The other parent is not the enemy. It's one of the parents of your kids. And they need their parents. What is your job? Your job is to love them, no matter what, and even if. I've probably got hundreds of videos on this channel that speak to that specifically. That's your job, okay? It's not to make sure that anything. It's not to protect them from the possible negative effects of what's going on the other planet. Get that out of your head, because it will only cause you frustration and it will annoy other people. I promise. Get clear about what your job is. And here's strategy number 5. This might sound familiar to you. Take care of yourself. Oh yeah, that was strategy number 1 too. It bears repeating because this is the part that we lose track of. And when we lose track of this, our kids suffer. You've got to take care of yourself. Do whatever is required. Get good exercise. Get good sleep. Eat a balanced, nutritious diet. Take regular time for prayer and meditation. Take care of you. You are the number 1 asset that you bring to these children, and they're going to need you. I hope that got you on a direction that is going to help you and your kids. Remember to grab these 9 principles because you'll want to work on those. drpauljenkins.com/9, the number 9, principles. And I'll send it right to your inbox.